You would never have imagined it.
Speak no more!
In this moment, you will become queen.
Tell my lady wife whatever.
What's good, folks? We're back here with a new video. We're here to have a recap on the new episode of House of the Dragon Season 3, Episode 2. This was absolutely crazy. Rhaenyra was crashing out all the way, which we will hear for. So it really carries where we left off. They showed the body of Jace, where it ended it. And it's very significant that they start off with that. You know, we see the body of Jace. We also see the Dragon Riders that we expected to be in the war. It seems as though they come a lot later. In Adam of Hull, Oath White, in Hugh Hammer. So we see a lot of their dragons out here in full fashion, like your Vermithals and your Silverwings. And as we really expected, and this is a battle that we thought we would see them in, which I feel maybe we could have started off with at the beginning of the show where it shows them coming. But I feel as though they wanted to give a good aftermath just so it can push through to the next sequence. So it's very interesting that we got that a lot here now, and we can see that, you know, that they overpowered the triarchy. Like the triarchy really took a big L. You know, we can say at least there was both losses from both sides, but the triarchy really took the serious L here, which it clearly shows here. You know, so this is what we're able to see from this show in itself. As we can see now, Bailey is now flying off. You know, she's flying off with Jace, and she's just in huge pain. This is someone that she's betrothed to. This is someone that she was about to marry, and all of this has now gone in the bin, given the fact that, you know, Jace is gone. You know, Jace had the strong will to say, look, we'll do it this way, and it didn't work out the way he thought it would. So this cost him his life, which is unfortunate to see. You know, so this was unfortunate, and now we have to move forward. You know, the fact that now Baela's going to be a lot lost. You know, a lot that she's lost somebody, but it's happened a lot for Targaryens. Like this what happens. You know, she lost her mother, now she's lost her betrothed. So this will be painful for her, to say the least. And now on top of that, not only just that, but now they'll also we see they've now taken the body all the way to Dragonstone for Rhaenyra to see, and Rhaenyra is just in complete shock, you know, because she won't be able to believe what she can believe. You know, first it was the Queen's Guard that was very shocked, but now Rhaenyra is expecting her son to at least be back from this huge battle, and the fact that she turns up with her son's body on the floor, it just lets her feel like, what on earth is this? Like, what have you done, Jace? I think part of us even thinking that maybe Jace is still alive, that this is just a complete joke, that he just hurt. But while she's talking to Jace, Jace is not responding, and she's going closer to him, and I think she realizes, oh no, this is too much. You know, she's already lost a son, now she's losing two. Absolutely insane. And I think this is one thing that in herself she's gonna blame for a long time. She won't be able to get over this. Like, this is hurtful for her, you know. And as you know, the Queen's Guard being the Queen's Guard, which we expected, he's like, maybe I should give my life for him. And she's looking at him retarded, like, what on earth am I gonna do with you? What am I really going to do with you? You know, I think this is really what she's trying to state to herself. Like, there's no point. She wasn't really bothered at that particular time. Like, she's pain. It's not going to help her get back her son. And then she looks at Baela and everybody else. You know, she says, "Have you betrayed your queen?" You know, because she's already should be on the throne already. Like, this was meant to be a peaceful solution that she had, and now it's turned into an absolute mess. And that's how it goes from there. We also now see the fact that we have the person who we kind of can blame for this is Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra's now gone to the Vale. She's looking for refuge, a place to be in. You know, it's sad to see because Rhaenyra just looks lost. She's there with Sheep Stealer, two lost people. Like, they got her looking wild right now after what's happened. And they make it very clear that she is the one to blame, because it seems as though this news has gone round. Even the Vale know something wasn't right, that the prince is dead. And for this news to go around, you know, it's a big thing. And the fact that now you're looking at how Rain is trying to find a way to stay after she's run from this place, she's really in a sticky situation. She tried to say, look, I know you're not going too well with the queen, and we can protect you. This is very significant here, because now it really shows that a lot is going on in a lot of these houses, that you feel like they're allies, but they're actually in friction. And that's one thing that Rhaenyra in herself is trying to state out, that, look, maybe I can help you. Maybe, you know. But clearly, Lady Arryn's not trying to hear that. she doesn't want to be part and parcel for this whole nonsense at all. It's one thing that she doesn't want to be part of, and she really pushes this aside and say, look, I don't want anything to do with you at all. Please don't even involve me in whatever you have got going on, and pushes her aside. She also lets her know that, look, the queen is actually looking for you. So, you know, I don't know how you feel you'll be safe. And this is very interesting because of the fact that, at first Rhaenyra's thinking, how on earth can the queen be looking for me? How would they know that I'm gone for real? But what this really shows is that there's going to be tension in going forward. That Rhaenyra is really going to be in some deep danger. She has to be very careful because it really shows that she may not be in a good space right now, given the fact that Lady Aaron's really pointed out, look, something like you're in trouble. You're in trouble. You decide to do this, and this is going to cause a lot of trouble. So it really is going to make us feel as though Rhaenyra is going to be at odds now with the Queen, and this is where division is going to come. Bear in mind, remember that Rhaenyra was supposed to not have this role, that Nettles was supposed to be the woman sheep stealer. But they've somehow, Ryan Condal has done is they've really made it where the Queen can be at odds with Rhaenyra. And this kind of is almost a parallel to the issue she had with Nettles. Not the same thing, but she had an issue with Nettles. Nettles was slightly low-key in a awkward, strange relationship with Daemon. Now that they've taken it out of the picture, what they've really done, which I can predict them going forward, is that maybe Daemon's going to be the one that's going to be with. Obviously, he's the father of Rhaenyra, so he's going to be divided and split. And I think this is where division comes between Rhaenyra and Daemon going on in the future. But he'll still try fight, and of course, we see him fight in Dance of the Dragons. So this is what we expect is going to be the case between the two, and this is going to cause a lot of division. Also, of course, they're looking for Lord Corlys. I don't know if he'll get a chance to speak with Baylor, who would be his niece. And, it's one of those things where this scene really lets us know what family is about. This is a scene for family. This is a scene where they really go in depth in terms of speaking in regards to what family is for, and the fact that, as much as they've really not had family, family is everything right now. And the fact that they're seeing Adam of Hull's in the skies looking for Lord Corlys. This really shows how much having a father is, and you really don't realize, how important it is until you lose it. And they almost would have lost a father. Luckily, Lord Corlys is found, and you see how Lord Corlys, after they've wasted all their time looking for him, Lord Corlys is here thinking, "Oh man, what have I actually done? I've got nothing to give to my children. Castle gone, gold and all those things have gone," which Alan of Hull pointed out that, you know what, your name is all that's needed. The fact that Lord Corlys said, all I can give you is my name, that was enough for Alan of Hull to take. Him being the senior right now, that's enough for him to take. And Adam of Hull as well. No more will they become Alan of Hull and Adam of Hull. They'll be Alan Valerian. And, and Adam Valerian. And I think this is a big thing because of the fact that, we've already lost the heir. We've lost the heir to Driftmark. And it's funny how simultaneously, while we lost the heir to Driftmark, Alan would be the heir if they'd give it to him. Given the fact that, he really is the heir. Of course, they could still give it to Baylor if need be, but, this is very significant to say the least. So this was what I would say, a very emotional scene, family together. So this was, happy for us to see. We also saw the fish feed, a celebration of the fish feed, which shows how when the Lannisters are running away and they're running off to God's Eye, they're probably trying to get to Harrenhal. They end up having to meet the Karstarks, and the Karstarks just really finish them. A few characters we don't see here, like Paint Longleaf, who was the one that beheaded the Jason Lannister. We like to see him, but honestly, this seems as though it was an absolute celebration. The fish feed is something that we all need to know. Would have been good to see more in detail, but we're happy that we at least get a celebration and mention of it. This is basically the Battle of the Lakeshore. So it's really the Lakeshore close to the God's Eye, where of course we see the Lancers devoured and the eating fish, which is here to signify everything that happens in this particular part of the actual show. So this was very amazing to see. Also, Daemon then now, of course, gets called that Rhaenyra is of need of him. and finds out that Rhaenyra's just lost a son, and this really shifts Daemon a bit from celebration. Now he has to return back to King's Landing, and this kind of moves him away from getting involved to any other further fights that may not be needed, especially with against the Kristen Cole and the Greens and those guys. So that really puts aside from that aspect there, and as you can see him, you see him speak with the Witch Rivers, called the Witch Rivers, in regards to, she tries to ask him, "I want Harrenhal Hall," and he's not trying to entertain anything. You can see how he is now. He just feels he's on top of the world and he can do what he does. That's Damon being Damon. He can't help it. So he's now left and gone about his own business as he's told everyone else that march south once you've defeated everyone that's needed from here. That completely still press. As this is going on, of course, we have other things of need. We have Alicent right now, and she really speaks to the Gold Cloaks. She mentions to the Gold Cloaks about, look, Rhaenyra's coming back, prepare for this. And she's in trouble. She's now already pushed away Daemon. She's pushed away Daemon from all of this, and now she's out here telling the Gold Cloaks, prepare for what's coming ahead. And it's almost as though she knows that this is going to be a bad mistake. It's going to be a mistake on her hand because in a way she's betrayed her kids. She's doing something that really is treason against Aegon, and her deciding to do this is kind of insane. So this gets very interesting. On top here we see Aegon, of course, was strong. Aegon in this particular point, for him, he's completely found out that there's he don't know where it's going. He's lost, to be fair, but then he sees that the battle at hand with the triarchy, and they're just getting themselves, half of them are really, murdering some of the men that are on the way that have just captured Aegon, but it gives him time to free himself, and he looks to push forward to find the men he needs to find up at where Kristen Cole and the groups are there. So he's really trying to find his way and his footing to make sure he can find his men within his road journey right now. So this is very significant for him. I feel as though he's looking for a combat right now, and there's no better way of finding a combat than being free. So he's free right now, and I feel like his story arc is going to be very interesting to see how he's able to survive to the point where he can reclaim the throne again. I think that's something that people are looking forward to see if it's going to be possible. Spoilers for that, but we'll have to see what happens. Also, on top of that, Alicent right now, she's just being devious, and she's trying to really prepare people for what's really to come. She's at this particular time being met with a visit. What shocks her now is the fact Lord Jasper tries to see what's going on with Alicent right now. Lord Jasper kind of knows that she's plotting, but he's trying to take advantage. Bro, he just thirsty. You can see Lord Jasper's thirsty. He's trying to devour Alicent. He's trying to smash Alicent, but Alicent's like, no, what on earth is going on? She's been violated enough. She was violated a bit by Aemon, and she's not gonna take that again. So you see that she's fighting back. Luckily, the Grand Maester catches him and saves Alicent, and tells the Greensguard to arrest him. He shouldn't really be touching the king's mother. So that becomes a big deal, in which they're able to do. Also here now you see Daemon. He's returned back from Harrenhal, and from the close to the God's Eye, and he sees Ulf White and Hugh Hammer, and he's completely shocked. He's like, "You're supposed to stop Aemond. You're supposed to wait for Aemond to come." Clearly, they didn't wait for Aemond to come, and they went about their own way, which has shocked Daemon, because Daemon's thinking, so who on earth is guarding him? Because I left the garrison. Now he's thinking, oh no, this is going to cause chaos in Harrenhal. He's leaving it for the folk at Harrenhal, and Paul Simon Strong is not going to have anybody to guard his peoples. So this leaves it open now for Aemon to do what he wants to do, while he's looking at Ulf White and Hugh Hammer like, what on earth have I sent these guys here for? Also, particularly, you can tell he doesn't like Ulf White. This is a very significant aspect that we have to consider. This is here showing the breakdown of how Ulf White and Hugh Hammer will have a betrayal. Spoiler alert, this will definitely be going forward with. There's no way that they'll be able to take this disrespect. I feel as though already Oathwhite is complaining. And the one person that despises him the most, it seems as though it's Daemon. He can't take this kind of nonsense. This is the first time we finally get the interaction with them and Daemon because of the fact that Daemon normally would be up in Harrenhal doing his thing. But now we get to see the dynamics. We can see that he's looking down at these guys like, who on earth are these lot? These lot are ridiculous, especially given the fact that he believes Daemon the Road Prince and having to deal with these two. Oh no, he can't stand it. He gives Oathwhite the slap that he probably needs. But you can already see where things are going to get messy, given the fact that he sees as though he can't really get these guys in order. Also, there's further things going on where now he finally is able to see Rhaenyra and see how she's doing, and he sees that Rhaenyra is not doing well at all. She is literally lamenting the loss of her son, and she doesn't want none of this. Meanwhile, he tries to remind her of the vision that, look, Daemon's gone from Vhagar, it's ours to take, and she's thinking, what on earth is she here to do? How is she going to do all this with the losses that she's had? What's the point of being on the throne with all those losses? But Daemon's trying to reassure her that, oh look, bro, like I've seen the dream. I've seen Daenerys, and this is very interesting as well. He's now mentioning Daenerys in this, and this is a very significant thing that he's doing right here because Daenerys is one person that even the Game of Thrones, the Song of Fire and Ice, we don't get much of those mentions. So when those are mentioned for us, those are big Easter eggs for us to know that they're foretelling the future coming in. And also the fact that, no, we need you to be ready. So this is very significant as well. And this will be something that will motivate Rhaenyra to push forward to say, look, I need to do this. On top of that now also, we also see the fact that Alison also now makes way to Helena and lets Helena know what the plan is. And now that she's put Helena as queen, as Aegon and Aemon are not there, she's trying to now manipulate Helena in a way so that she can make sure that the peace goes at hand and that she doesn't want to make sure that things don't go wrong. She already knows that she's moving crazy, but she has to make sure that the plan doesn't go nuts compared to how it is right now. So she's already telling Helena, like, look, we need to do this. This is the case. Helena is absolutely shocked, thinking that this cannot be right. But she's always going to do what her mother's going to tell her to do, of course. And they tell the guardsmen, look, we are going to take down no dragons, And Helena, being the leader that we didn't think she'd be born to be, clearly was like, look, yes, this is what I want to do. And those sons that she had of Rhaenyra were always cool to me. And it's very fun that we get that. That was hilarious for me to watch. You can see that the Greens definitely are not with that. They're definitely thinking that this is nonsense, that this is all a plot, So this is really offense to them. They're not happy with this, but they know that they'll have to go with it because whatever the Queen says, they have to do, unless they would want their heads to be off. So this is how it pans out from this particular point. This leaves it open for Rhaenyra. Already now we're seeing Rhaenyra. She's getting a gear set. She's getting a gear ready. She's here to start off, and this got me excited. She's out here calling Cyrax, Cyrax, let's go. So she's set, and also we also see another clip here now. Daemon meets his ex, and this part is very interesting given the fact that the love and hate relationship that they had. That she was promised so much from Daemon, and Daemon's kind of plugging her like, "How are you still here though? You've somehow managed to climb your way here." So you can see that both of these two are competing for the top, and it's almost as though they're competing for Rhaenyra. This is very significant because we don't know what she's willing to do to make sure that she's in good books with Rhaenyra and Daemon's not. She could be the downfall of their relationship, which will probably try and make sure to push through. And I think she's going to be linked with the mess that we're going to have with Rhaenyra. So this is something that we really have to watch out for. Her dynamics, because I feel like she's going to play a major part in the confusion between Daemon and Rhaenyra, and I feel like she will probably be part of the downfall to Rhaenyra, making sure that there's going to be enough friction and that she shouldn't trust any of these people. And I feel like this is where problems are going to stir up as things go forward in this particular show. You can see that Daemon's laughing at her as she's going off with the other Dragon Riders, getting ready for taking over the Red Keep. And on top of that, also, you see the way Daemon's speaking to Oathwhite. This is also unraveling something that will happen in the future. The fact that Oathwhite doesn't feel like he's treated right here. And you can't blame him, because when you're getting Daemon's finger pointing at you, you just feel like, am I a mug? Why you point your finger at me like that? So you can see that he just feels offended by this whole thing. But although they have to do what they have to do, and right now it almost feels as though because of the way they've treated, they feel like yes men, and of course they'll follow through because they fear Daemon. But you can imagine that when they will have the chance and opportunity, both of these guys will turn, which we're just waiting for. Also, we also see Kristen Cole with the Green Army. They're out here, they're going through it, but they see Vhagar flying and they think to themselves, "Oh my goodness me, this is what we've been waiting for." As they see Vhagar flying, they're thinking, "Okay, we know where to go next. Let's go ahead. Let's see what's going on here." What they need to be careful of is that that is not a good idea. Even though they see Vhagar going with Aemon, they have to be careful in the woods because by the time before they even get there, they're gonna have their own battles that they'll have to worry for. And we know that that's Butcher's Ball, and we need to understand that there's still a lot of Rivermen out there, and there's a lot of the North out there with the Winter Wolves, and they'll be here ready for these guys. So that will be Butcher's Ball that will be slowly coming in. Also, of course, we're seeing Aemon being the Aemon he is. He's just blowing the place up. Like Aemon didn't really give us a chance to, you didn't give a breathing space at all. Like honestly, like bro just came in. He didn't speak to nobody. Didn't ask for anybody to yield. He just started blowing up the place. And I think this is crazy to see because all these people here they'll go on about their daily job, just trying to get their daily bread, and to see him just devour all these people is crazy. It's completely insane. But it's nothing that we don't expect from Aemon being Aemon. So he's just out here violating and devouring everybody in here, and it's and he then enters into the castle where, of course, he sees Sir Simon Strong. I have to say, I've never seen anything devour like this for Harrow House. It's Aegon the Conqueror, and him doing it as well right now really kind of reflects the omen, the bad luck that this place has, Harrow House, and why it's so haunted of so many ghosts. And we'll have more ghosts to have now with a lot of these people dead. You see me as Sir Simon Strong, and what's so interesting about this is Sir Simon Strong has been here before with Daemon. Daemon came in, took a few men, and Sir Simon Strong was just very peaceful. Now that worked with Daemon. Daemon didn't do too much on him. He just kept it moving, but it did not work with Aemon. Aemon wasn't going to take this. He demanded him to draw his sword. Him being the bully after being bullied with all his child trauma, he couldn't help himself. So he ends up murdering the Lord and also his sons. At the same time, though, one of the sons is able to get him from the back, which puts him on the floor. While we have River, she comes forward and she's looking at him like, do I really help him or not? He's asking for help. Bro, you just devoured the whole Haraham. I'm surprised she didn't even take his life. Like, why on earth should he still be alive? Why would you please take his help? That doesn't make sense to me. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what unravels because we know that a lot will happen between these two. She has to be very careful with Aemon. But, these two people are one of a kind. So now we see the dragons that we expect. We're seeing Silverring, Vermithor, Cyrax, Haraxes, and they are just devouring the whole Red Keep. We've never seen Red Keep taken over like this since Daenerys came and with Drogon. So seeing this is absolute cinema. They're doing exactly what they expected to do, and everyone is just losing their mind, thinking, "What on earth have we got ourselves into?" And already you see at first it's peaceful, but as Daemon goes in, you start seeing that he's got to take a lot of this guardsmen out, and he's doing it on his own, dolo. Rhaenyra, you can see combat is not one thing she's sure of, but she allows him to do that while she looks to reclaim her throne. So as they're clearing up the place, they see they see the Iron Throne, and this really makes Rhaenyra think, "Wow, I am finally here." She's finally here where she was supposed to be, and it really makes her think about everything. I think it brings a lot of the memories back, the memories with her father, King Viserys, and now that she is finally there, she's like, "Oh wow, this is everything that I fought for. I fought for this for a long time, and I'm finally here." So this is very, very emotional for her. At the same time, now you see more guardsmen and Kingsguard, they're all coming in now to fight Aemon. And now Aemon's thinking, okay, not Daemon, sorry. Now Daemon's thinking, man, I just fought these other guys, bro. These guys look like they become a menace to him. But who comes in? The Gold Cloaks, who were already known and equipped by Alicent speaking to them to guard against them. So this really helps Daemon, given the fact that we see here early within the seasons, especially in season 1, Daemon and the Gold Cloaks were always one, and they help clear off King's Landing with any issues. So it really shows that the work you put in will always come out with an output. So they really were on their sides, and they take over. They take over the throne. But that's not enough for Rhaenyra, especially the fact that they were laughing at her. The guardsmen at first were laughing at her the way she was trying to draw a sword, which shows a lot of misogyny that we get in this particular show. And the misogyny is reeking, and it's a lot for Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra takes the opportunity from this to really state to them in general that, okay, look, nah, this ain't it. This ain't enough. I'm not just going to sit on that throne. Bring Aegon, the usurper, to me. And that's what she states. She wants Aegon's head. She's not going to sit on that throne until she gets Aegon's head. So while they look for Aegon to find out that he's fled, they weren't too sure. They were thinking at least he should still stand. That's what Daemon thought. But now that he had fled, they wanted to see who they could find. And what do they get? Yeah, at first it seems as though they get Lord Jasper. But what do they really want to do with him? Lord Jasper in the council. He's not gonna add much to it. But who's of more significance? Otto Hightower. We don't see Otto Hightower in a while because Aegon locks him up, and now it even gets worse for Otto. He is going to be the replacement for Aegon, which is insane. This is very significant because who is more worse than Aegon than Otto Hightower? Of course, Alicent was heard from Viserys, but it was really Otto that really pushed this agenda a lot more. He's really been in the back. He's really been the one that's really been trying to take Rhaenyra's throne from her from the beginning of the time. It's really been him from day one, and I think this symbolizes a lot the fact that she finally gets the chance to put Otto in his shoes, and this is a huge scene right here. This is very emotional. She's asked to now wield the sword to take away Otto's life, and she's thinking, can I even do it? But Viserys is saying, look, if you want people to respect you, you have to do it. You have to do it. Otto like, nah, bro. She gonna hack my head. I don't want that to be the case. At least I want a clean death. He's saying, if I'm gonna die, make it clean. At this time, he even asked where I guess everybody else is gone, but there's not much that they can say that they're willing to share. So Otto's always like, you know what? Just take my life at this particular time if need be, because I can't be in this world the way that this is. And Rhaenyra doesn't waste time on that. She holds that sword and she goes for it, and it looked like it is a hack because the first one is just a bit of a chop off his head, and he's just like, oh my goodness me, that hurt. So already he's already seeing where death is taking him, and that second one, woof, that's when we start to see the queen that we expect. And she finally gets the chance to take the throne. So you see Rhaenyra, she's able to now be on the Iron Throne, and you see her slowly wave into it and mold herself into it. And this is very interesting because I feel like it's good that they didn't just make it too cliche. They didn't make it too obvious, like of course she's gonna just walk up there, sit there. And instead they showed her as a human being in so much pain, so agony to get to this point. Like it took blood, it took life, it took tears, and she's finally got to the point where she's on this throne finally. And as she's on this throne, you see her just sat there at first, kind of unsure, kind of shy, kind of like, am I worth this? Am I really worthy of this after everything I've gone through? It really hurts her confidence, to say the least. Am I really worth all of this that I've gone through? And now you finally see on the throne, it's just like, wow. The music starts playing, you start saying, yeah, she's definitely worth it. And now she'll be challenged to see what she can do on the throne. And who comes in? It seems as though they're able to capture Alicent and Helena, which is when Rhaenyra now sees her and she's just in complete dismay because this is such a bad timing. The fact that Alicent now sees her father, who she's probably not seen in ages, head cut off. This is very interesting to say the least. Now, how does Alicent feel? Now the fact that her father is now chopped off on the floor. What kind of plan was this? Was this the right plan? That's what Alicent must be thinking to herself. And now Rhaenyra will have her captive. This is going to be interesting. This is absolutely crazy. We have reactions for this, full episode reactions on Patreon as well. Make sure if you love these videos to like, comment, share, subscribe. We've got more of this coming through for you as well. Express your entity.